Okay, so again, the very first thing we were supposed to fill in is the question, what is slope? And that is the way a line is rise over run. Okay, rise over run. And the formula again for slope is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so we're looking at the 4 different types of slopes. We said this first line looks like it's going upstairs. That is what a positive slope looks like. What about that second line? What does it look like it's going, if you read from left to right? Downstairs. So that's going to be a negative slope. Okay, if it looks like it's going upstairs, it's positive. If it looks like it's going downstairs, it's negative. What about the one that's horizontal? Does it rise? It just runs, right? Not that one, but you're on the right track though. When you have zero energy, what do? When you're burnt out and you need to rest, what do you do? Yeah, but how do you take a break? When you have no energy, when you're tired, what do? You go to bed, you go to sleep, right? How do you sleep? Do you sleep standing up? No, you sleep laying down, right? So think about that. When you have no energy, when you have zero energy, you're going to be sleeping. You're laying down. Okay, so a horizontal line has a zero slope. And then think about the vertical line. That's like when you're so energetic, you have so much energy, you're hyper, you jump up and down, right? So we call this an undefined slope. So horizontal is zero, think about sleeping. And then an undefined slope is going to be a vertical line. That's when you have so much energy, you're going to be jumping up and down crazy. Okay, so that's kind of what the 4 look like. Upstairs is positive, downstairs is negative, horizontal is zero, vertical is undefined. And then we're going to talk about how do we find the slope when we're given a picture. Okay, when we're given a picture, we're going to just use the words rise over run, and we're going to count it from one point to the other. Do you see where they have the points A and B on your pictures? Yeah. All right, so let's start with point A here in this first picture. Rise is how much I go up or down. That's going to cut off on me, I believe, because it just flashed. Let's see, does it? Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so starting at A, am I going to go up or down? I'm going to go up to get to B. So let's talk about how many we go up. We start 1, 2, 3. We go up 4. So we rise 4. And then do we run? We do run, right? Which way? To the right. And we're going to count how many we run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we run 5. Now, you can think about your directions as positive or negative. However, I can just look at that line. Is that line going upstairs or downstairs? It's going upstairs. So is that going to be a positive or negative slope? Positive, okay? Up is positive, right is positive. However, I don't like to think about those directions because sometimes they get a little confusing. So just look at your line. Is it upstairs, then it's positive. If it's downstairs, then you know you need to go a negative. Can 4 over 5 reduce at all? No, they don't have anything in common, so we're just going to leave our answer like that. All right, with number 2, first of all, before I start counting, is that a positive or negative slope? It's negative. It's going downstairs. So I'm going to go ahead and put a negative. And then let's count. We go down how many to go from P to where Q is. We go 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we said it was a negative slope, so it's a negative 3 over 6. However, that can reduce, can it? To be a what? Negative 1/2. Yep. So we always want to reduce our slopes if we can. This one we can. So it's going to be a negative 1/2 slope. All right, with 3 and 4, with the vertical and horizontal lines, you don't really have to count. You just have to remember which one is which. What did we say the slope of a vertical line was? undefined, okay. So I'm just going to put undefined, or I'd usually just write UND so I don't have to write the whole word. Does everybody see that that is a vertical line on your picture? Okay. And then number 4, what kind of line is that? It is 0. It's a horizontal line, so we're going to say a slope of 0. Okay, so when you're given a picture, you just count from one point to the other. Decide if it's a positive slope or negative slope. Make sure you reduce if you can. If it is a horizontal line, it is a slope of 0. If it is a vertical line, it is an undefined slope. So far, so good? All right. Now we're going to use our ordered pairs. And again, the formula we talked about that's up on the board is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We're going to start with number 5. It says find the slope of line AB. A is at -2, 5. B is at 6, -1. So the very first thing I want you to do is I want to label our points. And what I mean by that is let's call A x1, y1. And let's call B x2, y2. That way, if I label them, then it's just a matter of plugging things into the formula. Everybody ready? We got them labeled? All right, so let's go with our formula. The formula is y2. What did I call y2? -1. Hold on, my pen's not wanting to write again. So -1 minus, what did we call y1? 5, okay. Over x2, which we called 6, minus, what did we call x1? Okay. So all I did was I plugged in the points that I labeled, x1, y1, x2, y2, plugged them into my formula. Now let's work it out. What is -1 minus 5? -6. Okay. And then if I do 6 minus a negative, anytime you minus a negative, what does it turn? Positive. And what's 6 plus 2? 8. All right. And then we just try to reduce. Do 6 and 8 have anything in common? Yeah, they can both divide by 2. Okay. So that's going to become, if I can get this thing to work, hold on. If I divide both of them by 2, it's going to become a negative what? 3/4. -3/4 is going to be what that one is. And hopefully this will start working. And then so my slope is going to be -3/4. Is everybody okay with that? I want you to try 6. First of all, label your points. The first point we call x1, y1. The second one we call x2, y2. I want you to take a minute, plug those into your formula, and start working it out. The formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And plug them into your formula. You have them labeled, so there shouldn't be any question as to which one is which. We are plugging everything in. The formula is y2, which I labeled 7, minus y1, which is -3, over x2, which is -6, minus x1. If you are not good with integer or operations or adding numbers that are positive and negative, get a calculator. Let it do the work for you. Again, when we minus a negative, what happens? They go positive. And what's 7 plus 3?
10.
And then in the denominator, -6 minus a -11, that turns positive again. What's -6 plus 11? 5. And what does 10 over 5 reduce to be? 2. So my slope is 2. Would it be okay to leave that as 2 over 1 as well? Yes. Is everybody okay with that? Yep. All right, do the same thing with 8. Go ahead, label your points, set it up. We're going to have to talk about this one and what it looks like and what that means. We're labeling our points. We're plugging it into our formula. We're going to work it out. We're going to see what happens. My y2 is 2. My y1 is negative 4. x2 is 9. x1 is 9. 2 minus a negative 4 turns into 2 plus 4, which is 6. And what's 9 minus 9? 0. Okay. Everybody to listen to this. 6 over 0 means 6 divided by 0, correct? Zion, you have a calculator right there, right? You have a calculator?
I got a calculator.
Do 6 divided by 0 for me. Oh, yeah, it's just 0. No, do it in calculator.
Error.
You get an error message. Can you take this and divide it in 0 parts? No, you cannot divide by 0, okay? So let's think about this. We have 2 special slopes. We have the 0 slope and we have the undefined slope. If you're getting an error message in your calculator, which one do you think that is? The undefined, okay? So this is what you need to remember. When 0 is underneath, your slope is undefined, okay? If you do that in your calculator and you get an error message, that is undefined. 0 is not allowed to be in the bottom of a fraction. So if you get a 0 in the bottom of your fraction, that is your vertical line, and that is going to be an undefined slope. Okay, the way you remember it is underneath. If 0 is underneath, it's undefined. Might want to make a note of that. Okay, if 0 is under, it is undefined. Yeah. Also, on the test, if you leave your answer as 6 over 0, I'm counting it wrong. Okay, I need to know that you know that that is the undefined slope. Yes. Wow. Because you need to know that. Because 6 over 0 is not valid. That's why. All right, go ahead and do 8. Last one. Label your points. Plug it into your formula. Let's take a look at what happens to this one. Huh?
How you know? All right, so it's the 8. Oh, it's on. Never mind.
Label my points. Plug them into my formula for slope. You got a question? Y2 is negative 3. Y1 is also negative 3. X2 is 0. X1 is negative 7. Again, when you minus a negative, it turns to plus. What's negative 3 plus 3? And 0 minus a negative 7 is 7. If you do 0 divided by 7 in your calculator, does it give you an error message this time? No, what does it tell you? Tells you what? 0. So guess what? When 0 is on top, what is your slope? 0. If you leave it as 0 over 7, I'm counting that wrong. I need to know that you know the difference between when 0 is on top and when 0 is on bottom. They are 2 completely different lines. One of them is a horizontal line. One of them is a vertical line. You have to reduce and tell me. Okay, do not leave 0 in a fraction. It is either 0 if the 0 is on top. It is undefined if the 0 is underneath.
Well, you said that back. I thought if the zero's underneath, it's under 5.
That's what I just said.
You said it's on top.
No, I said if it's on top, it's 0. If it's underneath, it's undefined.
Oh.
I just reversed the order in which I said them. Does anybody have any questions?
No.